We have to have a very difficult conversation and say, look, Muslims have a bad rap. They have a bad stereotype of being violent, extremists, wanting to take over all. So what type of message are we sending by openly praying in Times Square? What kind of message are we sending saying we need the Adhan 5 times in major cities in the United States? When I say things like, look, we can't get mad at people here saying we don't want these guys praying out on our streets or playing the Adhan. We can't get mad at them for that. If they went to one of our countries and tried to do what you're doing here, they would go to jail.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
One thing I've noticed about you is you are pretty objective for the most part, even if it's against like your own people.
Yeah.
You talk about black
They
people.
hate me so
You
much
talk
for that.
about Muslims. And it's interesting because I saw you post something the other day because, you know, this is a Muslim issue in the Middle East. But you were talking about, you know, Muslims coming to America. And you were talking about Michigan and what's going on
Oh, yeah,
there.
when they were playing the Adhan multiple times a day in Dearborn.
Yeah, because,
Yeah.
you know, you look at this and it's like this nation was founded on Christianity. And it's still a predominant Christian nation. And you know, you have Muslims.
They hate me when I say that. I said this is a Christian country. Like, you know.
Yeah, it's not a Muslim country.
It's not.
But, you know, you're seeing now the New York thing and other stuff where they're like, dude, we're going to take over. We're taking over. And I've said this as a Christian. I'm like, guys, like Islam has spread really far through lots of different tactics of takeover. It's not just like, you know, yeah, there's violence and stuff, but take that away. Just take things like the tax to, you know, hey, if you don't convert, you pay a tax.
Yeah, the jizya.
Yeah. And it's like, Christians don't do that.
Yeah.
You know, like if you don't convert, all right, you don't convert, like it is what it is. But, you know, if you want to go be in some of these countries, if you don't convert to Islam, you're paying a tax the rest of your life and you can't do business and you know, whatever, right?
No.
But now you're seeing kind of that start to spread to Western America. So what do you think of all this?
So, yeah, and I get a lot of hot water with the Muslim community about this because they're like, oh, you shouldn't have these takes. And I appreciate that you acknowledge that. Like, I try to be as objective, even if my position doesn't benefit me.
Right.
Right. And I think that's the best way to be because, like, if you're only giving takes that benefit you, like, are you really being genuine?
Yeah,
and
it's biased.
It's extremely biased, right? And this is a human feature, right? Like, you know, people are always inherently going to have a worldview and have opinions and takes that inherently benefit them. But like for me, just being objective, this is not a Muslim country. It was not founded on Christian principles. The framers were not Muslims. I understand that the framers did mention having, you know, religious tolerance and freedom of religion for sure. Separation of church and state, sure. And you do have the religious freedom to, you know, pray on the Times Square and all this other stuff. But like just because you could doesn't mean you should, right? Like if you invite someone to your house and they kick up their feet on this table, you probably won't be like, get out of here right now. I hate you for that. But you're going to think twice about letting someone else like him in.
Yeah.
Right. And let's be honest, like we have to have a very difficult conversation, you know, and say, look, Muslims have a bad rap. They have a bad stereotype of being violent, terrorists, extremists, wanting to take over all this other shit. What type of message are we sending by openly praying in Times Square? What kind of message are we sending saying we need the Adhan 5 times in major cities in the United States? Like we're confirming the stereotypes because the thing is that I've always said it like this whole Muslims are and Islamophobia, whatever you want to call it. It's all like propaganda, right? To make Muslims look terrible. But if you go ahead and you actually confirm the stereotypes by doing this, like you're not helping the cause and you're wearing out your welcome. So like I say, like, do you really need to pray in Times Square and put a loudspeaker and do all this other stuff when there's mosques all over New York City?
Yeah.
Do you need to do it? Just because you could doesn't mean you should. So like my thing as I look at it, like, let's not wear out our welcome. We're guests here. And this is at the end of the day, a Christian country. And then what I always tell them is, okay, let's go into another scenario. Let's say we take a bunch of, because I got in a debate with Sneeko about this. And I said, let's say we take a bunch of Christians, because he showed me a video of them praying at Times Square. It was like 100 of them. They're using a loudspeaker praying at Times Square. It's like, look, we're not being disruptive. I was like, bro, this is kind of disruptive. Like, what are you talking about, man? And you're doing it at Times Square to send a message, right? Like, let's be honest here. Like, that is to send a message to a degree. So what if I took 100 Christians, they went to the Burj Khalifa in United Arab Emirates and tried to pray over there? What would happen? I think they would get told to leave and or arrested. And the UAE is a westernized, fairly secular Muslim country.
Yeah, that's the best case scenario.
That's the best case scenario. So, you know, when I say things like, look, we can't get mad at people here saying we don't want these guys praying out on our streets or playing the Adhan. We can't get mad at them for that when if they went to one of our countries and tried to do what you're doing here, they would go to jail. Yeah. It's not fair. They have every right to feel like this is a Christian country. We don't want you praying in the street. Because then they'll come back to me and say, well, we hear the church bells. Oh, well, this isn't a Muslim country. Like, it's incredible to me how, like, I have to argue with these guys and tell them, like, church bells, it's supposed to be able to do that. It's not your country, bro. It's not. You know what I mean? And it's, like, incredible to me how I have to explain this to them. And then I look like the bad guy for telling them that you're a sellout, blah, blah, blah. No, dude, you would never reciprocate this, ever. And it makes my blood boil because they're so stupid,
Yeah.
right? And I call them go. Like there's smart Muslims and then there's that don't understand that, look, you're intolerant of certain things. Christians should be able to be intolerant of certain things in their country. This is not a Muslim country, bro. We're here as guests. I don't care what you say. No one puts their hand on the Quran to swear in. They put their hand on the Bible.
Yeah.
It's incredible to me how stupid they are. It's like low IQ monkey thinking because they don't understand that. I'm like, dude, you would never exercise this level of tolerance in a Muslim country. And this is in UAE, Dubai. I've been there many times. 90% of the people that are there aren't even Emiratis. It's like Indians, Pakistanis, Filipinos, etc. And if a Christians went and tried to pray in front of the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, right? Because I would liken that to like maybe a Times Square. That's like their maybe equivalent, like their biggest tourist attraction.
Yeah.
Dude, police would be there immediately like, get the out of here.
Yeah.
What are y'all doing, bro?
And you're in the most westernized.
And you're in the most
Middle
westernized.
Middle East.
And they don't
place.
have anything to say to that, right?
Yeah.
They just get mad and be like,
Yeah.
oh, you're a sellout or
Well,
you're a kafir.
Well, you pick the other countries and they will literally kill you. Like
There's some, yeah.
this
So
is
there's some,
happening in Nigeria.
Yeah.
This is happening in all these things. And it's like,
yeah, dude,
you
it's
know.
just, they're getting angry for some Christians exercising the same intolerance that they would exercise in their home countries.
right.
And that's where it's not fair, right? And they say, well, this is a country of immigrants. This is a country of blah, blah, blah. Realistically speaking, like, they didn't intend, the framers didn't intend to bring a bunch of Muslims here.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what the goal was, like, for them to be the majority.
Well, it's interesting, even now as you're saying that, it's making me think about to these biblical stories with Jesus. And so what they used to do was practice and let everyone know they're fasting and they're praying all these hours per day. And Jesus was like, no, dude, like people really shouldn't even know you're doing that. Like,
Yeah.
keep your fasting and your praying. Like,
Yeah, why do you got to
When
showcase it?
and that was the point. He's like, you guys do it as a show
Mhm.
to like please man and show people how you're doing it. And Jesus is like, no, you shouldn't even do that. And that's why you don't really see Christians doing it.
Yeah.
And I would say the only equivalent of Christians would be when you see the guy on the megaphone saying, you're going to hell if you don't repent.
Yeah.
And even I'm like, bro, no, quit. Like, stop doing that. That's not
But
making us look good.
even and they don't like when I say this, but I look at it like, even if they did do that, this is a Christian country. Like,
Right.
even if they did do that, and I'm consistent on this. I don't even like it when they shut off streets in Brooklyn, right? Because they're also a minority.
Right.
So I think the people that founded the country get to dictate the culture of the country, the religion of the country, the language of the country.
Yeah.
And that's how it goes. And people get mad at me for saying this, but it's the truth. And it's like, if you're going to come to America, you need to assimilate, you need to learn English, you need to adopt American ideals, because I'm a hardcore nationalist, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't like when people fly foreign flags in the United States. Like, I got in a bunch of trouble with Puerto Ricans because I said that they're also, they're flying around their dumb flag, right? And it's like, oh, Boricua, blah, blah, blah. It's like, bro, how are you guys such strong? You guys, you're all
What do you think of this
nationalistic.
Bad Bunny thing?
Yeah. Like, you guys are all over here being like nationalists for Puerto Rico. You don't even got a nation. You carry an American passport. Shut the up. And then Bad Bunny, I think it's unacceptable for a reggaeton artist that does music in Spanish, who honestly isn't a patriot whatsoever. Why they book him for the Super Bowl?
I don't know.
The most American
Why do you think
thing
they
you
did
could
it?
do. Because Latin music is huge. It's a strategic play to bring in more Latin viewers to watch football.
Got it.
That's why. It's a strategic move, but they're selling
They're going to
out
lose
American
out
values.
all the other people.
Yeah, it's like more bending of the woke shit or whatever. But like, I criticize everybody. Like, I don't like it when we have Puerto Rican Day parades. I don't like it when they have Mexican Heritage Day parades. Like, I think flying any flag, a foreign flag, is a problem, right?
What do you think is like the justification, even like, for the jizya tax or whatever it's called? It's like, if they're going to do that, why would they ever be mad if, I guess, they're discriminated against, or not even discriminated, but I guess, to your point, intolerant against?
I will say this, the Muslims that disagree with me, because a lot actually do agree with me. They just don't say it out loud because they don't want to get ostracized or whatever. A lot of them do agree with me, right? Moderate Muslims. It's just that there's a small percentage that are loud. Those are the ones that have the platforms. Those are the ones that are on YouTube. Those are the ones that have the big Twitter accounts or whatever. And, because they say all this shit and it, obviously it gets a lot of shock value, gets a lot of engagement, because then you have other people like fighting back against it. Like, we don't want Sharia law here, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it's a very loud minority that think it's appropriate to do a lot of the shit that I mentioned before. But a lot of Muslims have common sense and are intelligent and super smart and get it like, hey, we are guests here. Do I need to pray in the street? Yeah, they're respectful.
Yeah.
They love their Christian brothers. Because I have a deep respect for anyone of the book, right?
Yeah.
Christians, Muslims, but we do have to be a little fair here and understand that we are guests here. If we want to go ahead and implement that 5 times a day and have a certain type of society, dude, go to the Qatar, go to the UAE, go to Saudi Arabia. All of these countries are beautiful, safe, cleaner than America. You don't even got to pay taxes in some of them. Like, go there.
Yeah, right.